them on for a quick minute later on. Oh, we'll take this break. A lot of sports to talk about, man. Some good stuff too. Jay's usually I'm the one getting all excited. Jay's getting excited over there. Boy. Be back after these messages, folks.
You can.
Thanks, Eric. Thank you, Tim.
What do you want to talk about on the next?
This segment right here is brought to you by
Milano Music, family owned and operated for over 75 years, over 50,000 square foot showroom and repair facility, 18 instrument rental depots across the valley. Visit MilanoMusic.com. That's MILANO Music.com, or call them at 480-827-1111.
Apologies to some of my peeps back east who are watching us. They take umbrage at the fact that I'm talking about how beautiful it is out here and they're dealing with all that cold back east. So Pinky, David, even Lori up in KC, Vicky, apologize. I should be a little more sensitive to everybody's not enjoying as much beautiful weather as we are. I'm actually heading to Columbus next week, so I'm an experienced
You're
little
gonna
bit of that
experience
shit.
something,
Yes,
yeah.
I'll be back there digging through my sizes now, looking for some big jackets, bro.
My wife can show you how to find one of them New York coats.
I'm telling you, bro. Hey, so we had some football last week. Hey, first, well, I guess we can say there's football this week if you watch the Pro Bowl, but I don't watch that garbage. But this will be officially, for me, first weekend since, September. Since we won't have any football, we wrapped almost about to wrap the season up this coming week with the Super Bowl. But last week, a couple of, I would call, great games. You're always leery of blowouts in these playoffs, man.
Right.
But, hail to the Bengals. Who dey, I think is what they say. Who dey, the Bengals, Kansas City, and I gave Cincinnati no chance at all to win that game. They come out with a victory, first Super Bowl in 31 years or something like that. A team that had a losing record last bunch of years, 5 years in a row.
Brought up a lot of things locally as a result of what the Bengals are doing.
It did, with their franchise quarterback who actually missed half of or most or a portion of last year with a knee injury, ACL torn, and comes back this year. And I mean, Cincy at one point was down 21-3 in the second quarter, and you end of the first half, we got that Chiefs. I don't know whether they just get a little too cute.
Sometimes you can't get out of your own head.
Yeah,
right?
they
you
don't
make a mistake and you can't pivot back to get yourself back on track. It seems like that was one of those things where that stuck with Mahomes for a little while.
They didn't take the field goal at the end with 5 seconds left. I don't know what they were thinking.
He dumped it off.
He dumped it off.
Yeah. He even admitted, he said, but I decided to try to go for it all.
And like you said, since he rallied after that, like I said, at one point down 21-10 in the third quarter, and it was almost like you said, it was a transition. They just started playing so much better. The Chiefs started, I don't know whether it was tentativeness or whatever it was, but they changed up their defense a little bit, started rushing 3, dropping 8, and that seemed to confuse Mahomes, but also confused the Kansas City Chiefs offensive scheme, like between Andy Reid and
Mahomes.
Well, also the enemy, yeah. And I mean, it was like they didn't know what to do, and ended up having to get a field goal. Their only points in the second half to get the game to overtime.
Yeah.
And then when they got to overtime and they wanted to toss, you're thinking, okay, here they go. They ended up, it should have been a punt, but it turned into a third down deep pass interception. Your boys went down there and kicked the field goal.
I got an interesting comparison that I heard Jason Smith mention about Mahomes, who he's compared to. Don't let me forget to tell
Go ahead. You want to drop it on me now?
Brett Favre. Because of the gunslinger mentality that I don't care, I'm going to try to fit something in no matter what. I'm always going to take that risk.
Yeah.
Because that's what people fell in love with, right?
Yeah.
With both Mahomes and Brett Favre. And then said, why you have such a gunslinger mentality? Why don't you ease up and ease off? And he compared him to that's what he compared
What's interesting for me though is it was not like, and that's a compare. Brett Favre was a gunslinger, but he was reckless at times.
Right.
I don't know if Mahomes is necessarily reckless, but he is a gunslinger.
He might be in that quadrant.
Yeah, and some of that running around and stuff he does off schedule, but I mean, like I said, the Bengals, man, you got to give them a lot of credit. Nobody saw this coming. Probably one of the tougher divisions in football too. In most instances, with Steelers a little down here, Cleveland, we all know what happened to them, and Baltimore, they took advantage of what they had to within that division. And like I said, next thing you know, they're going to the Super Bowl. Who ever thought that? And then you got
a line between cocky and Kyler Murray.
Yeah,
because I was saying
that's a great
Joe
point.
Burrow,
yeah,
they say, "Wow, look at that confidence. He's so confident in what he can do, such and such and such." But they will probably
if you can back it up.
If you can back it up, so it's interesting that then it becomes.
Here's the
being
thing.
aloof or being.
I'll throw this word at you. Burrow has a swagger.
Yeah.
Not necessarily it's a cocky swagger, whereas sometimes our
Black
quarterback
really like Joe Burrow. I think he hung out with enough black folk to where they say, "Yeah, man, we like your get down."
But our quarterback sometimes can be aloof and also cocky. So it's like he's standoffish, whereas Joe is like Joe cool.
Joe come in blinging.
Yeah, got the bling and everything like that. So I mean, we'll see. Hey, he's going to have, and we're not going to talk much about the game this week because it isn't until next week. I know everybody's going to be chewing it up over the next, not 8-9 days, whatever it is. But we'll talk more of the matchup next week. But I mean, he's going to have a whole different beast coming at him with that Rams front. So, they've been made.
Get sacked a few times.
Then on the other side, man, 49ers at one point up 17-17 or 17-7 in the third quarter. Yeah. The Rams, I don't even know how they fought back to win that game because it was almost like the 49ers were setting the pace for the longest time. And all of a sudden, it's like that run game that they could depend on so much kind of went away. And then you had to put it in Jimmy's hands. And Jimmy just didn't know what to do with that one.
Jimmy want more? Jimmy want more? Jimmy want more?
But they ended up coming back in that one, beat the 49ers 20-17. And your boy Stafford got the monkey off his back a couple times throughout these playoffs.
Yeah.
Coming up big. Cup. Now, let me ask you a question, bro.
Okay.
If we're playing cards, I don't know, a game, something like that, and I got the big joker, right?
Right.
Don't you sacrifice small cards against the big joker, so you do things accordingly to what the plan is.
Mm-hmm.
People know Cooper Kupp is running around out there, right?
You would think they did.
And every time I turn, I'm like, how does that dude get that open? Or in this situation, you don't double him or do something to make sure he doesn't beat you.
Yeah. I
mean, he's like the big joker running around there, and people it's almost like they don't you drop your card sometimes. And people, first thing you go pretend like they look. Everyone's look, so they see your card, right?
Yes. Dan wanting to talk about the conference championship games last week.
Okay, let's do this because we only got a couple minutes left. Let's hold Dan till the start of the next segment. We'll jump right into that with them. But like I'm saying, the card is there, so we know you got the big joker.
Yep.
So I know at some point you're gonna play it.
Yep.
I'm gonna make sure that I don't waste my bullets or I want to defend against that. It's like Cooper Kupp is like the invisible man out there. They don't see him till it's too late.
Boy, they better recognize just because he's got a different hue.
I was going to say the same thing. I don't think he gets enough respect.
They better recognize he's.
I'm more and more thinking. I'm like, damn, that dude is probably. You look at him and there's nothing flashy about him, but he gets the job done, bro.
2 minutes.
Word of Big Daddy Kane.
Yes, indeed. So they end up winning that one.
So does Stafford have to win to be? Because he's going to be Hall of Fame now, right? He won a couple playoff games. He's Hall of Fame now, right?
I think because of the opponent they're playing now, I guess the pressure goes back onto Stafford because he is now the favorite in this.
Yeah.
If he was facing Kansas City, it would be like a duel.
Look what he's overcome.
Look at what he's overcome. So it's going to be interesting. I do think, though, that me personally, we'll get into our picks and everything as we go down the line, but I do think a little pressure on him because they're going to be expected to win the game. And once again, Kansas City goes into this one like, man, what we got to lose? This is a dangerous team you're playing. Cincinnati, yeah. That's a dangerous team because it's like,
they don't care. They're probably thinking, man, if we lose this one,
hey, I'm waiting to see what Joe.
6 more times.
I'm waiting to see what Joe get off the plane wearing now. That's gonna be classic. Oh my God, that's gonna be So, like I said, we're not gonna talk too much about the matchup. We got a whole lot of other topics to talk about.
Mike in college, we used to call him Black White Mike.
Well, I had a friend.
He hung out with us all the time.
Yeah, I used to have a friend
all the time. And so so that
I used to have a boy we used to call White Chocolate.
Yeah.
There's all kind of different nicknames.
Yeah. Somebody say, you down. That's Joe Burrow.
Part of the crew, yeah, there you go. So we'll take this break. We'll come back and we'll take Dan's call. Maybe see what's going on with this matchup going. But appreciate you hanging out. Easy and Jay on the Easy Sports Talk Show, KDUS 1060 AM as well as KSLX AC Channel 2, 100.7 coming to you live from E3Cryo, right at the corner south of 35th Avenue in Thunderbird. Yeah, coming out and hang out with us. Be back after these messages, folks.
Are you get Joe Burrow?
I want that chain.
Joe got money and didn't know how to act. He said, I'm the gets chains.
Who's my man? Who's out there? together with the White Sox way back in 1987. That was my shortstop, man. We played together for years, holding down that left side of the diamond. Peace out to you, Anandi, Jeff Avery, Lori Shandi, Vicky Fagiani, boy, Michael Paolillo, Shelly Esposito, Michelle Casetta, and Sheila Hudson. So just some shout outs. Let's jump right out to the Easy Sports Talk hotline. Have my man Dan had a question for us. How you doing today, Dan? What's your question? Good.
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Yeah, I want to ask you on both games last week. What you know, there's one play that we turning point there, come up by both and the third thing I wanted to ask you is the Bengals team among the whole of the Patriots and the guys to see what we're going to go with Brady Retired, some similarities when we get to
That's a
You
good
go ahead
question.
with the first one.
The first one I'll say, I think it would be for the Chiefs game. It was at the end of the first half. Them not getting those points. That mistake made by Mahomes by instead of just throwing it out of bounds and just trying to get that field goal, he tried to get everything, and that's his mentality. But sometimes you have to look at the situation and make the change. And I don't think that they were able to. It sounds crazy because that happened at the end of the first half, but they weren't able to get back on track and make better plays and decisions. I think that stayed with them for a while. With the 49ers game, gosh, I'm not sure what the big turning point in that one would be. I think it was just you get in certain situations where you start to have to rely on your quarterback to make certain plays, and I just wouldn't have the confidence in Jimmy G, and that's just real. He's where I have the confidence in a Stafford to be able to lead us back. And losing Cooper Kupp, how can you – losing where he is on the field and being able to let him get open, those things just those chip away at you.
Yeah, I would double down with you on the end of the first half with the Chiefs. The other thing, I think with the Rams 49ers game, San Francisco rushed a total of 20 times for 50 yards in that game, and that's their bread and butter. When you shut that down, then you put the weight on Jimmy's shoulders, and we just saw kind of what happened there. I think that was the turning point. The fact that they couldn't run the ball.
And real quick before you answer the second part of his question, what's interesting is the fact that we know what makes Donaldson, what makes Donald so important or so vital is because he gets after the quarterback, especially if you have a quarterback that's dropping back. So Jimmy G, you try to mitigate that because you don't want him dropping back. So that would kind of negate him a bit. You stop running the ball, you try to start dropping back a little more, then you just open it up. That's just you're opening up yourself to all kinds of stuff, and that's what ends up happening. That's what they get for that. That's what they get.
To answer the other question, who the Bengals remind me of, I'm going to go a little closer to home. They kind of remind me of my 98 Falcons team.
Okay.
A little lesser of the records. I think they were 10-7 during the regular season, but you talking about coming out of nowhere. They just kind of came out of nowhere. Same thing with our Falcons in 98. The year before, we finished 7-9, no big deal. Ran through the regular season 14-2. Came up against a Minnesota team that everybody thought was just going to scrape the ground with us. Same thing.
Yeah,
Bengals go into KC, and I didn't give them a chance. I think they were only a 7-point dog. We were 11 going up into Minnesota, but it's kind of the same thing. And they just continued to win, and now here they are in the Super Bowl. Once again, facing we faced Denver. I think we were obviously underdogs in that one as well. With Cincinnati, I'm not sure how many people are going to give them a chance to pull this one off because Rams are playing at home. You got Donald, you got Leonard, you got this whole defense is just waiting to swallow them up. We'll see how it comes out, but that as far as
let's please don't go with the everybody jump on that Tom Brady thing, y'all. Please don't.
What do you mean?
Because people will try to always, is this the beginning? Is he the next Tom? Everybody looking
Oh
for
yeah,
the next
yeah.
somebody. Everybody looking for a hero.
Well, nice segue into one of the other big pieces of news came out on Tuesday.
Right.
That was that Tom Brady retired. I didn't see that coming. I thought he would probably want to come back for one more, but I think
Tom had to be upset because when the news broke, whoever in his camp broke the news, And he's the one that wanted to control it. And of course, you want to control it yourself. But he was thinking, man, I'm just not going. I'll probably just try to wait as long as I can. And then he had to eventually, what was it, on Tuesday, I believe it was, maybe Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday, I think it was, maybe Wednesday. Then he said, okay, yeah, I'm officially announcing it. But yeah, is it better to leave just a little bit before or right after when you say I've given all I have?
I think one of the other things, that team, the Buccaneers, was going to have to be dismantled a little bit.
That's true.
A lot of one-year contracts, a lot of guys they probably wouldn't be able to bring back.
They're not going to take that discount again.
Yeah, so he was going to have to. You might lose Byron Miller, which doesn't look like he will at this point with all that mess going on. Yeah, but the possibility of that, and then it's like, do I really want to come back and start? Not necessarily over, but
you will be starting over.
Because you and then you got Giselle like, Tom, what more do you have to prove? Let's go cruise the Caribbean, and you know I got my supermodel money, so what's your little $20 million? Do we really need that?
Nice. That did the landscape.
Do we really need that, Tom? Come on, I make $40 million a year. What does a supermodel do to make 40, or however much she makes to be making more than her man who makes 20+ million?
Somebody, a lot of people think so, I guess.
Okay, so when you asked, I had a question. I was trying to go through my list of the GOATs, so the greatest of all time, and I had a hard time. I put my little list together, and I came down to some obvious ones, at least for me. I'll tell you where I have my problem. Michael Jordan, in my opinion, I don't care what anybody says about LeBron. Y'all can jump off of bridges. My show. Michael Jordan, the best basketball player to ever play the game. Gotcha. Muhammad Ali, the best boxer. All you Tyson people, I love Tyson, but come on.
Tyson was just a supernova.
Yeah, and then as far as football, I mean, you can pick from like some people, Jerry Rice. I got to give it to Tom, man. As far as being the GOAT, you know how hard it is to go to one Super Bowl, let alone 10, win 7 of them.
Yeah.
And what he did carrying some of those teams. I got Tom. Where I came to trouble was with my last pick because I'm not a big hockey guy, so I was trying to come up with mine. But I could, like, baseball wise, I was going down the list. I was like, the steroid era has ruined a lot of perceptions for me. And then I go back, like my son was like, Babe Ruth. I'm like, Babe Ruth couldn't even, I'm sorry. He'd have to be hard pressed he would have to hit the gym a little bit. Let's just say that much in this day and age to compete with some of these athletes of today.
Come get cryotherapy,
dog. Go get cryo. That would be one of those things that might help him. I was like, I couldn't figure baseball. I was like, you know what, Gretzky, I never watched a whole lot of hockey, but when you talk about the GOAT, the greatest of all, his name always comes up. So that's my Mount Rushmore of athletes. Did you have a difference?
Yeah, for me, and I readily admit that a lot of it is more sentimental than anything. Well, no, not some of it is sentimental. I think some you could put the numbers on it. Magic Johnson is just up there for me because his desire to want to get people involved and to be able to make his impact by making other people better and sharing the ball and being able to run the show. That made me want to be a point guard. I was a really bad one, but it made me want to be a point guard. Then when we look at it, Jim Brown, I just think some of the my criteria is a little different just in terms of the impact. When he played at that time, when he walked away, that he left a lot on the table in terms of still being able to do that. But then you were running back and he didn't want to take that punishment anymore. But Jim Brown, you got to put Michael Jordan, and then I would also put I would put Tom Brady up there.
Okay.
So, then you could move some other pieces around. You could put a Muhammad Ali in there and maybe move somebody else out. But, yeah, I feel good going together because you have to give credit, even though, as I think there's probably some truth to the fact that you could look at Tom Brady's career and say 3 different maybe Hall of Fame type of careers. But there's definitely different types of careers over the course of his totality, the macro of his career. But getting to the Super Bowl, being a part of those teams, even if the first couple maybe he was more not along for the ride, but wasn't necessarily the star of the show before his talent really started to take that next jump. But that you cannot diminish that. That's how many Super Bowls again?
10, bro. 10.
Good Lord.
You look at my little piddly NFL NFC championship ring. He's got 3 big ones or 7 big ones, and then the other little 3. That you
he don't even tell the kids to play with these in the backyard.
You want to use the paperweights. That's what he uses the little AFC championship.
But man,
so
when you think about what you had to give up to go to 1,
Yeah.
What you have to give up to go to 10?
Bro. So yeah, all hail to Tom as far as being, one of both of our, we have him in our list. And the game is not going to be the same without him, but it will move on. But his legacy, I think, will be even more heightened as we move forward.
Yeah.
We'll see. So,
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
hey, we appreciate you hanging out with us. Easy and Jay, 10:60 a.m. KSLX AC Channel 207. We're going to take this break. Got a lot to talk about in this next segment.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Indeed. You can.
Clear. You're live.
And welcome back to the Easy Sports Talk Show. Hope you're enjoying your
That's what a
Saturday.
certain coach said to the NFL.
Hope you're enjoying your Saturday wherever you may be. This segment right here is brought to you by
Casual Sports Radio Network, KSRNAZ.com is your destination for the latest updates and in-depth coverage of your Arizona sports teams, including all things Arizona Cardinals for the Bird Gang fan base. Visit casualsports.com, or also ksrnaz.com for feature articles, great podcasts such as the repurposing of Easy Sports Talk Show, and music programming like Microphone Master, Disposable Arts, and more, and the Believe in the Arizona Cardinals podcast.
So anybody who watches our show, Jay, they know we're not into necessarily the scores and all the highlights and stuff like that. We like topical things. You know, we dig deep sometimes too. We're not afraid of topics. We don't steer away from anything. We have our opinions. We try to keep them, you know, respectful. And, you know, we know a lot of people might not agree with us sometime, but we had some instances, some things that happened within the NFL this past week. Bombshell. Now, first off, a few weeks ago when Brian Flores got fired in Miami after a 1-7 start, and you win 7 out of 8 to close the season off or whatever it was, you know, barely missed the playoffs. He has a winning record as a head coach. Last year was one game away from getting the team into the playoffs as well. And then you look at some of these other teams floundering, and they continue to keep their head coach and ride or die with them. And even, you know, it's like, how did this dude get fired, right? Well, he gets fired, and we scratch our head about it. And then at the same time, we're looking and like, dang, you know, the NFL down with one black head coach after all these years, you know, and what's going on, you know? And then Brian Flores, I guess, shocked the establishment, the world, because he actually filed a class action lawsuit against the NFL, claiming racism in the hiring process, some other things. You know, he had not just the league, but 3 separate teams, Giants, Dolphins, and Broncos, named in it. And, I mean, this is something that, for him, some will say it's like professional suicide, because how can you – there's only 32 NFL jobs, 32 owners. You just left one, which cuts it down to 31, because you imagine the Dolphins are never hiring you again, but there's 31 other opportunities out there. This is a coveted position. You are now suing the league, and I think for good purpose. Over the years, bro, I mean, we've watched it. The number of black coaches, just it seems like it never measures up. And then one of the things that caught me was he was scheduled to go interview for the Giants. And this is the whole, and he gets an email prior to his interview from Bill Belichick congratulating him on the fact that he got the job, where, you know, he's the top guy, he's gonna get the job. He's like,
that's because
he's like,
that's because both Dable and Flores
both named
Brian, first name, and they both have associations with Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick just puts in Brian
and types away
and says congratulations. And who was supposed to interview the next day for that Giants position?
Dable had already interviewed.
No, but who was supposed to?
Flores was supposed to be interviewed.
And it's already a done deal.
So he's like, wait a minute, are you sure you're typing, you sending the message to the right Brian? And Belichick's response was basically, oops, I effed up, sorry, you know, that type of thing. So somehow Bill had prior knowledge, and you got a black head coach. Now, we all know, anybody who follows, there's the Rooney Rule, where when there's an open position, you have to interview at least one black candidate. And for me, the fact that it's gotten to that point is disgusting. But then when you look at somebody like a Brian Flores, and he's like, you know, you just left an organization in much better condition than it was when you got it. You're a respected head coach, former head coach, but still looking for a position. And you come to discover that the only reason they're bringing you in is because you're black. And they got to fulfill that need. So that's insulting in itself. The fact that he went to the interview shows a lot about his character, because he did go to the interview knowing the whole time that they've already made the decision, I'm not getting this job anyway. You know how embarrassing that is, or insulting that would be? Seriously.
Look, man. There's so much. We might have to put this. No. This might be one of the focuses on Adams in the podcast. No, but so here's the thing that infuriates me is that, for one, Flores, whether he wins or loses, because winning this is going to be very difficult. It's going to be to prove it, because I can always say, we picked this person because we felt that person was the best candidate for the job. That's always what you hear. But for Flores to put himself on the line like this, it could possibly be career suicide. Because think about this. This is 2022. Think about 60, 70 years ago. Somebody, you're talking to a friend And I walked into this restaurant and they wouldn't even let me eat. You lying? No, because if you've never experienced it, then you would think that that's impossible. But if you live and breathe it, that's what you experience. And so it's going to take a lot of a changing of the way in which people. You have to, for business people, you have to make them believe that the decisions that they're not making are hurting their bottom line. Because if you're just automatically discounting black folks, I'll just minority candidates in general, then you could be hurting your bottom line because you're missing out on a coach that could take your team deep into the playoffs, to a Super Bowl, to be able to change the culture and therefore put more money in your bank and help you to be able to make more money. Just on a major just from pure capitalism. And the thing that gets me real quick is that when it comes to this Rooney Rule thing, oftentimes, and this has been documented multiple times, you and I have both seen this. They know they're going to hire Coach X, and the rumors get out that they're going to hire Coach X, and they say, "Oh, but he's got to fulfill the Rooney Rule. He's got to fulfill the Rooney Rule obligations." So who do they roll out? They'll call Caldwell. They'll call Hugh Jackson. They'll call insert black coach here, just to be able to have them come in and say, "There we go," and then they'll hire Coach X anyway. It's ridiculous, and it makes no sense, because what you're essentially saying, and I heard Bomani talk about this just the other day, when he was mentioning the fact that if you're saying that you don't have, that we need to build a network or a pipeline, then what are you saying about the quality of the coaches that you have in front of you? You're telling me that none of these coaches, where did my man that's in the Super Bowl, for the Bengals?
I can't remember his name.
Yeah, but you know, this is his second year coaching.
Mm-hmm.
You went and found that dude, right? So the same way that you should take the same diligence to find quality coaches, and you can't tell me that Mike Tomlin is the only quality coach a minority coach in the league, black coach in the league, that it's asinine to think that. They have to change the way they do this. Because what we've seen, and we know this, because I'm not saying Hugh Jackson is a dope coach, but I'm not saying he's an awful coach to the extent that you would think you went one and whatever, Hugh, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you hear rumors about the owner of the Dolphins offering Flores $100,000 per loss so that they can tank, so they can get a better draft position, to then therefore say just when things start to probably get better, Brian, we appreciate the time that you've given us. Get on out, and now we're going to hire who we really want to hire. That it's ridiculous.
Well,
ridiculous.
Here's my thing. I'm right now. You throw in the Saints. There was a total of 9 vacancies, right?
Mm-hmm.
6 of them have been filled. None of them by African American candidate. And the Dolphins, Saints, and Texans are still left open. And my thing is, people a lot of times think, well, there's Rooney Rule is like affirmative action. No. Here's the thing. We're not, the black or African American coaches within the system are not asking for a handout. We're not asking for them to be, because you're black, we have to hire you. What we're asking, what those coaches are asking within that system are, give us the same look and opportunity as you would any other candidate.
If I suck and you hire me and I'm bad at what I do, then get me on out, right?
And one of the things that, we only have a couple minutes, we'll spill this in the next segment. One of the things that gets me is I've been listening to a lot of the other radio stations across, and I'm talking nationally and stuff like that. My question is, when are we going to stop pretending like this has nothing to do with race?
Right.
I mean, so many times I'm listening to guys. I've actually turned my radio off probably 6 or 7 times when I was driving this week, because somebody will get on a tandem about, this has absolutely nothing to do about race. Okay, if it doesn't, then how, why do we have to have this rule in the place in the first place? Because no candidates are getting fired. You're looking at a league that's close to 73% African American on the field.
Yeah.
So your workforce is predominantly African American. You got a lot of guys who played, go into coaching. Look at all these well-run offensive and defensive coordinated teams by some very qualified African Americans, some who've actually had head coaching experience in the past, but they all get just run over and they never get an opportunity like others.
Right.
And like I said, the thing is, we're not asking for a handout. We're just asking, hey, can we all play? It's like this. It's like playing a game of cards. You got your cards face down so I can't see them. You got my cards face up so you can see them. So we're playing an unbalanced game.
Yeah.
And then and here's the thing. I'm not telling any owner who you have to hire. because that's not how it's done. I'm asking just give us all a fair chance. We're going to take a break. We're going to continue this, talk a little bit more about this. Now, you see both of you get a little riled up, but I mean, it is what it is. Hope you enjoy your Saturday so far, folks. Appreciate you hanging out. Easy and Jay on the Easy Sports Talk Show, KDUS 1060 AM, KSLX, HD channel 21.7, 1 hour down. We'll come back and finish it up. Hope you're enjoying the conversation that we get into sometime.
Yeah, man. You can.
we've experienced things. I'm 52 years old. I've experienced things in my lifetime that, I would consider. I've had to go through minor racist issues and stuff like that. I always look back to when my dad, his era, born in 1945, and some of the things he experienced. I'm like, wow. My dad used to tell me stories before he passed, and I was like, I couldn't imagine, living where you had to cross the street or get off a sidewalk if someone of another particular race was walking on the sideline. You couldn't even make contact, and you had to get off the side, walk. So I think, what have I experienced, or my generation? And Jay, that it wasn't too many years ago when they were trying to, like, if you were an African American, you couldn't play quarterback in the NFL or at the college level because that just took too much intelligence, and we probably couldn't handle it. So this is something that happened in my lifetime. They used to take African Americans who played quarterback in high school. You got to a certain level, it's like you look more like a wide receiver or running back.
You just quarterback. We gonna make you
this or that. You
couldn't. Else but,
So then we fast forward. Okay, you look at all the African American quarterbacks and what they've done to actually change the game. Where now quarterbacks, if you're not mobile, it's like I'm not sure how long you're gonna survive in the league. Where did that all start? It started with some of these African American young men getting out there and literally changing the game. Yep. So now we're here in 2022. And it's almost like we're being told by the numbers. We're being told the same thing. African-American head coaches, they're more coordinators and position coaches. We're not quite sure if they have the overall to, we'll go get a Cliff Kingsbury who's never coached in the league, coaching college with a losing record.
And college football has a lot of the same issues.
It's all the same issues, but there's just so many.
But
there's 150 or 60 college. And that's just
true that.
Level one. You got FBS and all kind of stuff. But in the NFL, you got 32 head coaching jobs, and we're just not sure. It's almost like, they're just not. They might not. There's a select few that might be able to do it, but overall, they're just, they can be great coordinators, and that's just, to me, that's insulting.
And as you mentioned when we were closing last segment, the biggest thing is just to be able to be evaluated in the same way. Because who was it I was talking to? Somebody mentioned Wilkes. When I was talking to them, they said, "What about Wilkes?" I said, I tried to fight for that brother as long as I could, but it's just apparent, even from those within the locker room, that he just wasn't cut out at that point in time to be a head coach. Cool, dog. If that's what it is, then that's what it is. But you can't. But when you have an organization, for example, like the Steelers, the reason that Tomlin is there is because they walked into that interview with an open mind, and they had an idea who they were leaning towards, but then once they spoke to him and understood his philosophy and had a chance to meet with him, they said, "That's our man."
Yeah,
and that's all you want. It's the same way that if for those who are in the blue in the business world, this, and you've probably seen or heard of these practices where somebody will be discounted, removed from consideration for jobs because of what their name is.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean, hey, your name is Mike Smith. I don't know any Mike Smiths. No, it's because Javon Adams. That's probably a minority name. And so some filtering will take place like that. It's happened. There have been lawsuits that have been about it. You can do your Googles and do your searches, and you'll find that it's true. But what I'm saying is that the changing the way in which people go about things is like trying to get a tanker to be able to try to change and turn course quickly. Mm-hmm. It's something that takes a lot of time, but these owners have to, if you can make an owner understand that what you're doing is really, again, messing with your bottom line, because your bottom line is with the fans, the support from the fans, the winning does all of that. So you have to change the way in which you go about that. And you have these billionaire owners that don't want to be told what to do. They rather tell you what to do. And you're not going to tell them to hire minority candidates because they say, no, I have my network. Well, how do I get into your network? You can't get into my network because it's my network.
Yeah.
That's where the frustration comes into play.
We'll see how this all comes down, whether Flores, because he's still in contention for the Texans job. That's what they say. He's there. I think they have it down to 3 candidates. And let me ask you a question. Here's where I get frustrated too.
Yeah.
Who's the McCown, the quarterback? who's a journeyman quarterback, he basically.
I mean, but he's been a coordinator forever, right?
No.
I mean, he's been
Quarterback in the NFL for, and I'll give him credit for 16, 17 years, was always a backup. Not a dude that, not an Elway, not a Breeze, anything like that, right?
Yeah.
Zero coaching experience. You know, he's in the final three.
They wanted to hire him last year. They wanted to hire him.
No coaching experience, bruh. So how do you explain that to? And I'm not even saying just the African American candidates, but if you're a dude, even just a Caucasian man, you've been grinding on the grind, trying to climb the ladder for umpteen years, and you got a dude that has
I'm
no
coaching all
coordinating.
these players up. I'm doing all these things. So you're going to consider me, right?
No. So you got to do now. Is there? I mean, could you even imagine?
Opportunities. You say we got to give you opportunities now. Yeah, things have to change, man. So somebody's gonna. So the dude that would have gotten the job before, maybe you think about me instead of just that guy, and consider me as well, and look at my skills and qualifications, and then based on my merit, funny concept, then go ahead and make a decision that way, as opposed to just having these built-in networks that nobody can get into.
Here's what we're asking for, Jay. We're asking for long-term change, not just a quick fix. Here you go, try to satisfy us, and then let's move on and conduct business just like it's always been conducted throughout the eternity. I said we're looking for some type of long-term change, and I know like you have the Rooney Rule in place. There's got to be more to it than just that.
But the first person to do these things, that's what I mentioned at the beginning of last segment, it's almost like career suicide.
Yeah.
And so that's why it has to be committed. The first guy that, I mean, this is nowhere near severity, but remember Kurt Flood, who the first free agent?
Baseball free agent.
So he's the one that first had to do that to be able to take take all those arrows for that. Same thing with somebody, the first person that goes and sits at the counter that's been on for only whites, and they getting slapped and kicked and having dogs sicked on them or having malts poured over their head. Damn. So I can walk in and say, yeah, let me get a Coke, please. Right? It's those things that happen in order for change to happen, and that's why you got to give kudos to him, win, lose, or draw, that he decided to do that.
Yeah. So we'll see where it all goes, but like I said, obviously some eyes have been opened, and I'm glad we had a chance to speak on this because we can't pretend like it's just not happening. So. With all that being said, we're going to jump back into some sports talk. Have Tina join us in another segment coming up shortly. But appreciate you all hanging out with us, Easy and Jay, on Easy Sports Talk Show, KDUS 1060 AM and KSLX HD Channel 200.7. Got us on the Facebook restream. You name it, we're out there. Be back after these messages, folks.
You can.
Clear.
Thanks, Aaron.
Golden time of day.
You're live.
Aaron, you just love when he sings in your ear, don't you? I mean, I see Aaron back there just bobbing his head.
You gotta be cringing. Oh Lord, Jay singing.
Oh, welcome. Yeah. I don't. I couldn't. And welcome back to the Easy Sports Talk Show, folks. Hope you're having a great Saturday, enjoying us getting it in.
Yes, sir.
Wherever you might be, and appreciate you, hanging out for some talks and topics other than, sports on the field. We got enough of that to cover. We also like to make sure we hit some of those interesting stories out there as well. This segment right here is brought to you by
True Narrative Media. True Narrative Media understands in today's world, the visual aspect of media is extremely effective in growing your business and expanding your brand awareness. True Narrative Media specializes in telling your unique story, providing a wide range of video services for companies and businesses of all sizes. For information, call 623-335-0735 or visit TrueNarrativeMedia.com. And I must say, hit up True Narrative Media for a for a special project with very short turnaround time. It was for a funeral for my, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, my wife's grandmother passed away, and so he came through in a pinch, and it was so great, and it made folks at the funeral cry, and just the way and just
So well
all this
done.
stuff. It was great.
Yeah.
So yeah, True Narrative Media, they definitely get a thumbs up from not only me but also my wife as well.
Absolutely. So, jumping back into the world of sports, Phoenix Suns sitting at 41-10, bro. Finally had their 11-game win streak snapped on Thursday against the Hawks over in Atlanta. No shame in that, man. Like I said, sitting at 41-10, up in the West right now by 2 games on Golden State. Here's the thing, though: 41-10. You would think your margin would be a little bigger because there's not a whole lot of teams.
What is it, 2 or 3 games?
2 games.
Good Lord,
Up in
man.
Golden State, it's like just almost like running a race, and everything you're like, man, it's my best race ever. It's like you're on pace. You're like, you look behind you, like, ain't nobody gonna be there. And there's a dude like right on your heels. You're like, wait a minute, where'd that dude come?
Are you?
And you got to pick up and run even faster.
I have that happen every week when I go running my long runs, except I'm always slow. And so I'm thinking, oh, I'm feeling pretty good. And all of a sudden somebody just pop, 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 just run right by me every week.
So yeah, the Suns are in for a fight, man. And I pulled this up too. Check this out.
Yeah.
If the Suns were in the East, they'd be up 8.5 games on the second place team right now.
Wow.
But they're in the West and they're only up 2. So I mean that just shows you. And like I said, they're up 2 on the Golden State
Warriors.
But that doesn't mean that there aren't other teams nipping at their heels as well. Right now, even the Memphis Grizzlies, they're 6.5 back. They were not too long ago, they were only like 3 or 4, but so they're 6.5 back. But Golden State is not going anywhere. They're going to be on their heels all the way through. So this week they actually had 2 wins. They beat the Spurs on Sunday, 115-110. Got the Nets on Tuesday. That was a diminished Nets team. Now they're going through their struggles.
They are 7. They've lost 7 in a row.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that. You're supposed to be the
scuffle.
superpower. This is why when people start to complain about the super teams that are put together, no, they still have to play games.
Oh yeah,
and they still will have their ups and downs. And you have a team like the Nets, where even if you have 2 of your 3 that's supposed to be there, and Harden was kind of in and out of the lineup a little bit, but you still have to play these games, and people don't care.
Yeah, I mean the super team thing started when LeBron and then went down to Miami. So you got it went from big 2 to big 3, right? And so that's now the new norm. You got to get that much time.
The winning
together.
percentage of a super team is lower.
It really
than you'd
is.
expect. It's lower than you'd expect.
Harden,
Durant, and Kyrie.
I mean, you would think that would be just an automatic. You plug those dudes in, but then you got Kyrie in and out because of protocol with the virus and stuff like that. You got Durant, who I think he's injured right now. He might be in and out. And Harden's always kind of hamstring away from
Durant saying, "Man, if they ain't treating you right, just act like you hurt." LeBron a master at that right now.
Yeah, I'm telling you, bro.
LeBron said, "Oh."
LeBron sometimes pretends to be hurt just to prove a point too. He'll go down for a couple games. Okay, I'll show you how great I am.
I think LeBron's hairline hurts sometimes when he taps out.
Bro,
I mean,
go.
I'm just saying, man.
Not just the hairline either, but he's got a landing spot.
If he go,
who am I to talk about anybody's hair though? I haven't had hair. So yeah, that's like you talking about how dark you are.
That should be a problem.
That shows love right there. The fact that we
I love you, man. That's real. That's real.
So some good news for the additional good news right now. Booker and Paul named to the 2022 All-Star team.
Yes.
So they'll be joining there, and they'll do that whole draft thing. That's crazy how they'll do this draft now, and you don't know who's going to be on what team or what side. I
think they
hate
should
that.
keep the West.
East and
go back
West.
to the East-West like it used to be.
I hate that.
Yeah.
So there's a possibility that those will be playing against each other.
Yeah.
And I think Monty Williams is even coaching, so he'd be coaching one team with or without.
You won't be there because when is the All-Star game? Because you won't. Because I know you're going to be in Ohio this coming week.
I don't even know when the All-Star game is.
Yeah. It's a couple weeks out.
Yeah, as far as All-Star games, because you think about it, today is the Pro Bowl. I don't think who watches the Pro Bowl, and then the NBA All-Star game. I think more people are involved.
FanDuel.com.
Yeah, that's true. So, the NBA All-Star game used to be the best against the best going at it, but now it's just like basically a alley-oop and 3-point shooting contest for the first three, almost
That's why I don't
four
watch
quarters.
it.
I can't watch them.
That's why. And I'm not old man get off my lawn. I started doing that
Oh,
years
it's
ago when it
disgusting.
became that way.
Yeah.
I want to see if I'm seeing these top tier athletes play against each other.
Man.
Let's go at it, man.
You remember
Let's
back
see.
in the day when you had Jordan and Bird and Magic and Worthy and all them dudes, and and Isaiah Thomas, bro, they used to get at it.
And they would go. Let's say they will go at if 100% is playoff mode or finals mode. In the beginning of the game, they would go about 50 to 60%, let's say, and then they ratchet it up to about, let's say, 85, 90.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, straight. But the way these All-Star games now, they start at 10%. Just go ahead and jump and throw it off. And
I'm telling you, bro, do the alley-oops and this. I mean, you can do that in the skills contest. We don't want to see that as far as the game. Yeah. And then the other thing, like I said, mixing of the teams. Now you don't know who's going to be on what team. I would just assume.
I can't be mad at them for trying it, but it didn't work. So let's. It didn't work
for me. That's for sure.
Back to it,
And then, as we always do, we have to give some love to your Lakers. Currently 9th in the West. I see you bowing your head over there too. He just used to see his
Carmelo pulled a hamstring the other day.
17 games. Let me say that one more time. 17
Davis
games out of first
again.
place. Oh, that's got to make you real happy, right?
He's a
and LeBron's down again with that knee. He's still trying to get that back. Well, I mean, I don't know.
LeBron. Sometimes I feel he'll go in and say, "I'm going on the injured reserve."
So I think, and I'm looking at my little report. He missed his 5th straight game on Thursday against the Clippers.
Yep.
And they're saying it could be a few more.
He lost to the Clippers, by the way.
Here's my question to you, bro. You're 17 back. You're in the 9th spot, and you got to remember they do that little playing thing right now.
Yeah, man.
There is the reality hitting you that there's a possibility if they have to play the play-in that they could actually play themselves out.
Yes, yeah.
That's a reality because right now, at first we thought, well, they'll probably end up a 4 seed or something like that. Man, they might be fighting just to get in to the dance. And that's got to be, and this is LeBron, the greatest player to ever play the game. What's going to happen?
I swear, I didn't have a button that says hate. I know Thanos James can deplete our resources, but
And then there's rumors that they're looking to trade Dwight Howard and DeAndre Jordan, these great players that they brought on to help in this championship run. Dwight Howard, man. He's got to be in the top 5 of dudes that had all the talent in the world but could never figure it out, and people can just not stand playing with him.
Yeah, especially if they can't stand playing with him part. That's the challenge. That's the thing with him, and he just keep getting checks. I'm not mad at him if they keep offering you money. I'm gonna take it before I gotta go get a real job.
Man, I'm telling you. So, I'm not even sure because they're 51 games in now. The Suns, that means they only got about 31 because it's 82 game set schedule.
Yep, 82.
So the All-Star game has to be coming up here soon.
It's coming up.
And then you got the home stretch. So then I can actually start watching because I don't watch until the playoffs. I watch very little regular season basketball because basically it's just a 3-point shooting contest anyway. So I'm waiting till the playoffs. The real season starts, just like with baseball.
I'm such an old man. Watch these young boys go out there and do their thing, Playboy.
They don't do it like I used to do it, like I like watching them do it. It's just so, like I said. So the regular season, this is basically an 82 game preseason, and then once they get to the playoffs, that's when the regular season starts. That's how I look at it. So
yeah. Hey, I tell you, I went to your house the other day, and Q let me in and said, "You're lucky I didn't call the police on you." I said,
he's told, yeah.
I said, "Thanks, Q. You see me every week, dog. Hey, it's good to see you too, Playboy."
Oh my goodness.
You're lucky.
Hey, we're gonna tell you, you're lucky. You showed up at my house, knocking on my door, ringing my bell. He's taught well. He knows.
9-1. All right, that's just Jay. All right, you're lucky, Jay.
That black dude standing outside my door. Anyway, we're gonna take this break. We got great Tina Smith from E3Cryo joining us. We're gonna talk a little bit more about what we do here at E3. Also, a quick update for baseball too. They might be in some danger. So appreciate you hanging out. Easy and Jay, Easy Sports Talk Show, KDUS 1060 AM, KSLX HD channel 200.7. Be back after these messages, folks. Hope you're having a great weekend so far.
You can.
Clear.
the breaks, we have some of our great conversations, and you've jumped in with us, and you've learned some things that you didn't even know about, in the world of sports and how they, go. Are you a baseball woman? You watch any sports, or you or your husband?
I don't. My husband follows sports. I don't really follow sports. I like to watch live sports,
Yeah.
But as far as following teams and things like that, I don't really do that.
Oh yeah, you're probably like more like if your husband goes, you go for the beer and a hot dog, and you hang out.
Yep.
But I mean that's how a lot of people watch their sports. If you're not into it, your partner is. You go hang out and some quality time together.
Yeah.
So, and real quick, just to give everybody an update on the world of baseball right now. MLB requested a federal mediator to kind of help out their problems with this lockout, and the Players Association basically said, nope, we want no mediator, and we're prepared to go to the mat with you, and which means that the start of spring training, which is a sad thing, the start of spring training and the regular season are in jeopardy. And the reason it's really sad for us here in Arizona is because of what spring training brings to our economy.
Yes.
You got all these teams. I think we have as many as 18 teams, 16, 18, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I have to look the official number. They're everywhere from Goodyear to Scottsdale, and in between we got everywhere. We live right Surprise, right Peoria. So we got all these complexes, and all these businesses are waiting for the teams to come on and their fans to follow.
Yes.
And every day, once we get to like the end of February, you start playing these games, and it's baseball time. You got people coming out, restaurants going right across the street to the stadiums, and all that income and all of that is not going to be there if this lockout isn't figured out, and it hurts our economy. Even if they come in for an abbreviated quick pit stop, I mean, you're cutting days off of the.
Yeah, because people take their those spring breaks that kids have that come up, and then now with a lot of kids still doing things remotely, you're able to just say, okay, well, I work remotely, you go to school remotely, let's come here for a week, 5, 6, 7 days, whatever it is, catch a couple of games, and then go on home, and that's definitely in jeopardy as it stands right now.
So what I'm going to do is we're going to stay on top of this. One of the other things I'm interested in is because the minor league players are not part of the players union.
Right.
So they might, because the year we had the strike back in '95, that was my last baseball season. I was signed a AAA contract with the Indians. We had spring training while the strike was going on.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see if they have the minor leaguers out here, all guys who are not on the 40-man roster. So we'll follow that, but that might be in jeopardy. We'll see. So jumping back into, and once again, Tina, thank you for joining us. Thank you for having us out. And we're supposed to have a whole bunch more people here. We're going to figure this all out because you have such a great business here. We're going to continue to try to get people to come here to try cryo. But let's talk about some of the other things that you offer in the intro stack. That was something you wanted to talk about. Tell us a little bit about that.
So the intro stack is for anybody that's interested in trying cryotherapy that hasn't tried it before, but we offer a lot of our other services with it. For $60, you get to try whole body cryo. You also get to try the infrared sauna, the compression therapy, the red light. You get a free basic cryofacial and a B12 injection. So it's quite the stack for people who really want to learn about what we do and try out multiple services at once for a very affordable price.
So I know you've explained a lot of the different services that you provide, but I'm curious about that B12 injection. What are some of the benefits of that B12?
It's going to help with your energy. B12, a lot of times people with autoimmune conditions will have a B12 deficiency, or if you're on a vegan type diet, you might have a B12 deficiency.
Okay.
When you're on a calorie restrictive diet, you might be a little bit deficient in B12, but really it's an energy booster.
Okay.
And let's talk about some of the other services as well. The Saluma light therapy. That was something that I still do it, but I've switched to the compression therapy. Tell everybody about the light therapy and what it does.
Yeah, so we use Saluma. It actually has 3 colors of light. It has blue, red, and near infrared. The blue light is more topical. It's going to help with things like acne, where the red light goes a little bit deeper. It's going to help with the anti-aging, reducing fine lines and wrinkles. And then the red light actually penetrates, or the infrared penetrates deeper and helps with pain and inflammation. And as you know, it's really good. And you almost have an instant gratification from the red light therapy.
With the new year, when the clock strikes midnight, it's a new year, new me. I'm going to go out, I'm going to start that new business. I'm going to do all these things. And one of the things that people have is I'm going to lose weight. Yeah. So what about some of those things that maybe where you can at least get people on the right track to maybe starting that weight loss journey?
Yeah, we have a great peptide for that, semaglutide. It's actually an FDA-approved weight loss program. It's a big game changer in the market because they've done some huge clinical studies, 129 of them around the world, and the average weight loss was 15% of your body weight over the course of a year,
Wow.
which is phenomenal when you compare it to things like phentermine, which has 5% of your body weight loss over a year. And we take a little bit a different approach. Semaglutide is injectable. It's a once a week injection. We include a B12 with fat burner with that. And then you also get unlimited use of our infrared sauna. We have a rebounder where you can basically do some light jumping up and down, and it will help get your lymph moving and help you detoxify your body. And then we take a little bit different approach. We teach you how to eat healthy, balanced meals.
There we go. Okay. So now, again, new year, new me. I'm getting married at the end of the year. I'm gonna do these things to get ready for it, to be able to look the best that I can in that dress. So they're going out and finding, the right dress, finding the right location, but then they can also be able to include this to be able to help as they're going out and being more active and doing some of these things to be able to help them to look great in that wedding gown. Right?
Absolutely.
And one of the things I love the most, team, is your facility here. It has something for everybody. This is a spot where even Frank was here earlier, and he talked about his wife Tiff. This could be, this is something that a couple can do together. Come get your cryo on while she's getting some injections, B12 and different things like that. It's not just come over here and get cold, get in the cryo. Oh, so many things that you guys offer here, which is really cool. Yeah. So if there was someone, how often would you have, like, for cryo? Because I know I try to do it once a week. At one point, sometimes I do twice a week, depending on my schedule. It isn't something that you have to do every day. What is a good regimen for somebody starting out?
So depending on what you want to achieve, if you're actually training to compete and do some type of event, you can do cryotherapy every single day leading up to the event. For the average person who's working out and they're getting sore a couple of times a week is a really good regimen. If you're just trying to optimize your health, once a week is a great regimen.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting because I've been talking to my wife. Again, I'm training for a 50-mile run coming up here in May. So my wife is I just want to become a little bit more active, just to be able to get back out there and with the rigors of work and career and those things that take their toll on you. So looking at those two types of difference, so one maybe running every day, trying to get back in, lift weights and prepare, and then somebody who's maybe sedentary for most of their day. What are the different types of things that you would look at? Questions you would ask based on those two different things?
So I would be looking at, what do you want to achieve? For somebody like you that's running and going to prepare for, that's a huge thing, 50 miles. Yeah. So, for somebody like you, you might want to do cryotherapy several times a week, combined with maybe some infrared sauna and some compression therapy for your legs. For somebody who's sedentary, that's just starting to get back into working out, they would probably want to start off with 2 times a week and build up and see how they do. And if they're getting sore more often, they can come in more often. And that's the beauty of cryotherapy, is you can feel some of the results. You get the endorphin rush at the end of the 3 minutes, and it's cumulative. So the more you do it, the longer the benefits last each time.
And I want to tell you, it has benefited me so much, Tina. You've seen me from when I was on a cane walking in here to where I am now. And I got a ways to go, but I would not be where I am without your services and everything you've done. So thank you. Tell everybody once again how they can be in touch and find you here at E3Cryo.
So we're located on the southeast corner of 35th Avenue and Thunderbird, right behind the Fry's Shopping Center. You can reach us at 602-899-2796. That's 602-899-CRYO. And then our web address is E3Cryo.com.
And for anybody interested, if you go to the Easy Sports Talk show page, we actually posted one of my episodes of my event when I got into the cryo, just to show everybody, and we're going to do another one of those. We'll do another one. We might even do it with Javon. So, but we're going to do another one of those so people can just see what we do and how we do it. So once again, Tina, thank you so much for having us out. We're going to see you again soon. Thank you so much. Been a great time here at E3Cryo. We'll take this last break, get on out of here. Hope everybody's having a great weekend so far. You've been listening to Easy and Jay on the Easy Sports Talk Show, KDUS 1060 AM, as well as KSLX HD channel 201.7, Facebook, Restream, you name it, we're out there. See you after these messages, folks.
You?
Thanks, guys. Hi, Roz. How are you?
Good, how are you?
This is Roz. She's
Ross, how are you?
with the Peoria Diamond Club.
Segment of the Easy Sports Talk Show. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Been a great show live from E3Cryo here in Phoenix, 13615 North 35th Ave, Suite 2, right here in Phoenix, 85029
Southeast corner of 35th Avenue and Thunderbird.
Yeah, see, I know Southeast corner.
Now you know,
That's
man.
That's it. So great show so far, man. Touched on a bunch of different things. Obviously, some sports with Super Bowl coming up next week, and we will jump into the matchup a little more next week and give our predictions.
Yeah, because I definitely want to get okay. So I have to ask you this: if there was a certain guy on your team that didn't get caught doing some things,
Yeah,
do you think you guys could have won that game, or do you think?
I think we would have been more focused.
Okay.
For anybody who's wondering what Jay's talking about, I was on that team that we had the infamous situation with Eugene Robinson. You know, it's funny.
The NFL Man of the Year, man.
Every now and then I get like there's a couple rap songs that use his name in them, and I'm like, ooh, that's cold right there. But yeah, so yeah, we definitely would have been more focused, and probably we'd have given a better fight. Let's just say. Hey man, there's a dude. We're gonna jump out to the Easy Sports Talk hotline. 'Cause there's a dude we've been missing for a while, Brother Art. Always glad to hear from him. Called in to give us a shout. What's going on, Brother Art?
Man, I'm not back like Freddie Jackson.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I've been
Man.
working. They have me on the ship. Just because I ain't calling in don't mean I ain't listening.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
But what I be doing, I can't be perpetrating side, if you want to call it that. Anyway, I want to talk no sports. The Lakers ain't doing that. The Broncos didn't, and baseball is funny. So other than that, I was just calling, man, just spare some blessings and joy, man, around these airways. So everybody including y'all.
Bruh, I mean, it's crazy, Art, because like we go a few weeks, we don't hear from you. But like you say, just because you're not calling in doesn't mean you're not listening. But just the fact there's a certain few people that we think so highly of, give us the support that we're just like you thinking about us, we're thinking about you in return. Hope you had a great. Oh, you got it, man.
Yes,
like I said, we talk about you, and like I said, we were just hoping you're well, your family's well, and there you go. And I know why you don't want to talk about the Brady Lakers.
Hey,
right
man,
now.
leave me and Art alone, man.
Hey, they gonna make the traffic move. Trust me.
Ooh.
I give them some Monday. Something's gonna happen because the deadline's gonna make a move for Sunday. I don't know why they just want them Westbrook to New Jersey and get hard. I don't. Hard don't want to do that.
Yeah, I take Harden.
Just make some kind of move. You just gotta make a move, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna do it because King James ain't playing that.
So whatever the move they make, it'll get them from 9th to like 7th.
Shut up, and
We don't want to pay because we want to pay Memphis. We got to start with Memphis.
There you
And
go.
then get the Suns when they tired, when they playing against the Dallas or something. Man, but don't sleep on this. Don't think we not going to make the playoffs. We just don't want to be playing the Suns because the Suns are running out the fence. Everybody knows that. And it's coming from the Lakers fan. Ever since I was born, first and goal.
I heard that.
So, hey, man, it is what it is. But trust me, we will make the move, man.
All right, brother Art. Well, like I said, man, we appreciate you calling in and listening and all the support, man.
God bless you guys, man. Have a blessed day. And you
There
Yeah, my man. That's
Brother
what-
Art, appreciate you, man. Yeah, that's missed him. I'm glad he
Yeah.
called in.
Thank you.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it's funny because the older you get, you hear from certain people, you start thinking you try not to think the worst and stuff. You just want people to be healthy and happy.
we both assume he was just busy doing his business.
Yeah, for sure.
So a couple minutes left, a few minutes left in the show. What were we talking about? Were we talking about something?
Sure. Okay, we're talking to Art, man.
I know, but before he jumped on, what were you saying? Probably wasn't important.
It wasn't important. It wasn't important.
All right, what you got going on this rest of this weekend? And
I got a race
How are you
tomorrow.
progressing?
I got a race tomorrow, 10K tomorrow. So
Okay.
So yeah, I am. I need to get back on track. It's been a crazy week and a half, 2 weeks with just
with everything going on.
everything going on and stuff. But yeah, I'm looking forward to get back on
And
track.
I want to, like I said, it was a great send off. For anybody, I know you said that, but Nika lost her grandmother.
102, man.
102 years old in the
102.
service was yesterday, and I know, I never met Nana.
Yeah.
But in that video that was put together, and then I joked with you, I was like, man, putting 102 years together in a video, and by the end of it,
Yeah.
I felt like I knew her.
Yeah.
I really did.
That's what, and my wife said the same thing before we sent everything over to True Narrative Media, because there was a part of the video that was done, but then they added on the second half of it, and then so she said it's hard to
102
do
years
that.
illustrated in about 10, 15 minutes, whatever it was. Man, you talking about from start to finish. I mean, I'm watching her life progress, and man, that was really done. That was well done.
Yeah,
I said, and I will say this much. I said this to you, Nana lived a good life.
Yeah, man.
So,
you touch a lot of people.
Yes,
things
indeed.
You do.
So,
yeah, my wife trying to get her Sex in the City stunt on in terms of trying to get that New York dress. She's stepping out. She's stepping out. So I appreciate you for rolling through. But yeah, I got a race tomorrow, 10K out in Scottsdale. So first time I've had a race in, gosh, it's been about a year and a half, 2 years, man.
How do you, and I know how you used to prepare as an athlete getting ready for games. How do you get your mind right for 10, 12, 15, 20 miles? What do you do? Do you have to go? When people ask me all the time, how did you get ready for a game? And I tell people I had to transform. I had to get ready for violence. And I would sometimes just sit in the corner
I guess that makes sense,
and get my little rock on with my headphones on. It would, I had to go to that other place for a little bit.
Play Miles Davis.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
I'll tell you how far I used to take it. You ever heard that Marilyn Manson song, The Beautiful People? Man, I was sitting.
That would have me.
Man, I would just sit there and I was just like, oh, yeah. And then, like I said, it was time to go, So for a run,
it's because it's training and running, 10 miles or 5 miles or 3 miles, or it doesn't matter if it's 2 miles. That's different than going, putting on the bib and getting up with the intent of going and racing. So it's been a while since I've done it. So that's why I want to get a couple of these in before May, so I can have that preparation under my belt. And it would be a different preparation if I was trying to podium, first place, second, or third. I'm just trying to finish now. We can get faster. We can try to get faster along the way. I'm just trying to finish and try to get different things. Like obviously we're here at E3, and then we've talked about last time. Your boy just wasn't taking his blood pressure meds, but just trying to get these different things that are to help me to be better prepared and to perform at my best. But
well, I almost let this show go by without mentioning one of the most important things in all of sports. Today is Dookie versus UNC. First, this is round one. They got to come to our place. So you talking about getting my game face on, bro? Tip is at 4. And I mean, in my household, you know what this means. It's war. It's time to put up and shut up. Because I can't take it, bro. We don't play well and we lose. I'm be hearing from everybody.
What is their record this year?
16-6, I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Duke is ranked
better than ASU.
Dookie is ranked number 9 right now. So
yeah.
About ready to get it on, so you know what time it is in my household. And just to get everybody a heads up, next week we're going to have an abbreviated show. We'll be coming to you live from the house next week. We got the schedule filled up the next few weeks, but next week, pregame for the NAU men's basketball game. They're going to be at Montana State. Pregame is at 11:30, so we'll be doing the Easy Sports Talk show from 10 to 10:30. And then the following week we'll be at the Daily Drip. One of our cult partners is right at the corner of 59th and Bell, basically. It's right down the street from there. Yeah. So we know that one very well. So we're at the Daily Drip, 6027 West Bell Road, Suite B in Glendale on the 19th. So we'll keep you up on the schedule. Like I said, next week, abbreviated show. But been a great show, man, here today.
Did we shout out Aaron?
Oh, yeah, no. I didn't even do the shout-outs.
Shout out Aaron.
Hey, everybody else knows who you are. We thank you. Especially Tina here at E3Cryo, but Aaron, bro, you do it like you do it all the time. Can't thank you enough, man. So
it's always cool when your producer says, that whatever you sent me, Jay, didn't work, but I got something in this place, and I said, you got it.
Next week, I'm gonna start hinting to Jay Aaron that he doesn't need to be singing in your ear all the time. Yeah. I'll see if I can slow that down a little bit.
Oh man, that's what's up.
Hey, we're gonna be out of here. Thank you for listening. Hope we will did a good job hitting on some topics and having some fun.
Man, my brother, so it's always
there. You go. Listen to the Easy Sports Talk Show, KDUS 1060 AM, KSLX, HD channel 200.7. Hope you have a great finish to the weekend. We'll be back out here doing it just as good next week. What you got?
Shout out to Dan and Art.
There you go. Dan and Art, appreciate you calling in. Till next week, be easy out there. We'll be back next week.
You can.
All right, you guys are clear. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Aaron. You have a great day.